Hi everyone, here at an in-depth lap guide in the Pro Mazda at Mid-Ohio. This will be Season 4, Week 1, 2017. This is a fantastic track in this car. It's just a constant flow of corners and they're all very technical and they're all sort of off camber and often you can't see the apex clearly in them. So it's really a track that you have to drive this car at the absolute limit to get the maximum out of. And I think if you're fairly new to this car and track, you will find it quite frustrating. But once you find the ideal racing line, it starts to flow really well. Now you're just making sure you get a good clean exit out of the final corner to start your lap. If you clip the curb or run too wide, you can compromise yourself a tenth. Now into turn 1, I'm slightly lifting after the 100 meter marker. But you're really just bombing in here with as much speed as you possibly can. It's deceptive how much speed you actually can carry through here. Although this car can't take it flat, at least not in any weather I've seen, it gets very close, so it's just really a little lift and back hard in the throttle. You don't want to get, well, for the way I do it anyway, I don't want to get too close to the inside curb. Although the apex is the inside, I find if you bring the car in, you kind of want to line up the apex with this yellow line here earlier, and at that point you're back on the throttle and spearing the car out wide. If you carry your line too close to this inside hump, you're likely to hit it, and once you hit it, then your lap's pretty much destroyed from that point. So I will maybe lose a tiny bit of track distance by not running it as close as possible and carrying maximum momentum out wide through this corner. Now here you're braking it around the final braking board, which is around the 100 meter marker, and you want to get down 2 gears. Now enter from wide and bring the car slowly into a fairly late apex. Just want to bring it slowly. And you don't want to get on the throttle too early. A lot of people here, they get on the throttle, get off it, get on it, get off it to try and get the way around, but you kind of want to be fairly decisive with the throttle. So get the car into the apex. Know until you can go on it, then not get off it, and then hit the throttle full. So at that moment I'm on the throttle and I know that won't push the car off the track. It can keep it on with the amount of steering angle I've got in there and not lose too much speed. You just really smooth through here, just keeping the car flat and not trying to unsettle it. If you get any over or under steer mid-corner, then it's probably going to compromise your exit and this whole back straight. Now just flat down here obviously. Now into here I'm braking it around the 100 meter marker. And you want to bring the car in and close this inside apex. Of course don't hit it with your inside front wheel. But get close to it. And then you sort of bring the car back to the right a little bit to transition it back into the corner. You kind of want to smoothly run it out wide, then back in and take another tight apex in this next segment. Now all down through here, you're kind of wanting to put fairly aggressive steering angle in as you want to flick the car. You want it slightly unsettled at the rear to give it maximum turn, just to get it through this smooth flowing complex of corners, because it's the first apex and you go left to the second apex and you have to get it hard right again to the third apex, and if you don't get the car back out wide and give yourself enough turn-in room, then you're really compromising your apex speed in all three of them. Then back out wide again and turning in. Now you want to touch this inside curb here, but you don't want to clobber it. It's very easy to get the car up too much, particularly if you're running a little bit of a non-ideal angle, if you've brought the car in too narrow. And you really want to be pushing the car over the curb. So once you get on it, you're pretty much back straight in the throttle again to push it out to this next corner. And if you hit the curb just right, it will take the car out to the outside of the track, so you can hug the inside through this corner. It's kind of hard to know through here where one section ends and where the next one starts, because they're all kind of flow together. So out wide, down a gear, cut it in, harden the throttle. Now you're getting hard in the throttle when the car's still up in the air a bit, so it will kind of unsettle at the back, but you just kind of keep it smooth through there. Back to the left, then flow it in. and again hard back on the throttle. Now through this section you want to take sort of the inside apex, then move the car out to the outside. So take that to reduce track distance, then move the car out to the outside, and you really want to be aiming to get the front right wheel up basically to the inside of this curb. And again, the second you do it, hard back on the throttle to push the car out. So in here, hard on the throttle, and you're often quite unsettled through here. The car's moving around a lot, you kind of have to make corrections, but you have to be really pushing it. Through all these last 5 corners, if you're just a little bit under the limit, the time just drifts away from you. So you've got to be really aggressive to extract the lap time from here. Now move back to the right for entry into this last section. Now on initial entry this looks like it could be quite a tight corner, but you can actually throw the car in and carry a lot of apex speed through here. It's barely a corner at all actually. You can nearly take it flat. So just a little bit of lift, then hard back on the throttle and push the car out. You want to use all the track. Don't worry about keeping it too far left. Just a lot of apex speed through here, out wide. Now this is probably one of the more harder corners, and you have to really have the car balance right through here, or else you lose a lot of time. You're kind of getting downshift through here, and I like to use this black bit of the road here, or darker bit of the road, as the spot that the front left wheel should run on. So that the line through this corner is kind of in the middle of the corner, and you want to make sure you bring it in and touch that inside curbing. If you push it past this inside curbing, so you've really got to keep it stable through here and just the right amount of speed to bring it into the corner. And once you get in there, then you can push hard on the throttle and run it out. The car will push out wide, you just kind of narrowly turn it in through there, and there's your run to the line. Honestly, I feel this entire run of corners pretty much starts here. If you're offline and chasing it through here, then you can be chasing it through the majority of those corners. You kind of want to overslow it here. It feels like you can push more, but you'll just find yourself pushing past that apex and losing a lot of time. And that was a 15.9. Great track in this car, fantastic track, really on the limit and really rewarding when you get it right. But it will take a bit of practice to get there, especially if you're fairly new to the car. Here's lap at full speed.